It's really hard to go through affair recovery, as I'm sure you are experiencing right now this very second. But it's really hard when external things are happening in the world. Things that are out of your control. And here you are, a puddle on the floor, devastated by his affair. And yet the world keeps spinning around you. How in the world can we possibly recover from this affair when we're also having to deal with other things happening in the world? I want to talk about that a little bit, maybe give a little bit of advice or some suggestions, some strategies to help you if you're finding yourself overwhelmed by all the other stuff happening in the world right now. So stay tuned. At the time of recording this particular video, we have had around 2 months worth of 3 straight mass shootings that have taken place in the United States. This is early June of 2022, so regardless of when you're watching this, maybe you remember there was a school shooting, there was a subway shooting, or maybe it was a grocery store shooting. Anyway, so many things happening in our world that make us shake our head and go, what is going on? What is wrong with people? When things happen in the world like this, or even things in our own lives, perhaps someone close to you is going through a really hard time, or maybe you have a family member who's been diagnosed with an illness or a disease, or maybe the stock market is plummeting, which is another thing we're dealing with right now. And there are things external to your struggle with affair recovery that you can't do anything about. They're just external things, but they weigh heavy on you while you're already emotionally, mentally, and physically depleted. What do we do about that? How do we still work through our recovery when everything in us is struggling so incredibly much to just get up in the morning because we ourselves are hurting and traumatized by his affair? First and foremost, there's nothing we can do. External factors are what they are, right? They happen. There's nothing we can do about it. It's life, and we just need to figure out how to move through it. So what I'm going to talk about in this video are ways in which we can try to move through it. But first, I think it's important that we understand a concept that will help us know what we can and cannot do about our current situation. And we're going to talk about energy for a minute. Now, I've talked about energy in the past, so I'm going to reiterate what I mean by energy. Every human being has a certain level of emotional, there's a truck going by, always happens when I'm recording. Every one of us has a certain level of emotional, mental, and physical energy. It's finite. It's only a certain amount that's available to us at any given time. It's not infinite, so once we're depleted, certain things happen. When we're depleted with our emotional and mental energy, we tend to struggle to concentrate. We tend to snap at people when we are frustrated. We lack the ability to have an argument with someone without completely losing it emotionally, things like that. When we're physically exhausted, of course, we can become ill. We can have a really hard time getting out of bed in the morning. I mean, there are things that happen when our energy levels are depleted. What we need to understand, those of us in affair recovery, is, and I've talked about this before, but I feel like it's important to reiterate, a certain percentage of our emotional, mental, and physical energy is automatically siphoned while we're in this recovery mode. One reason is because we're grieving. Okay, grief, and if you've ever grieved the loss of a loved one, you know what I mean. Grief itself is always happening behind the scenes, those early weeks and months, okay? We're tired, emotionally we're exhausted, mentally we're exhausted. It's just a certain percentage of it's just automatically siphoned off for recovery because of grief. It just is what it is. It's also siphoned off a little bit because we're traumatized. And trauma itself brings on triggers, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And it also brings about sometimes a level of anxiety that keeps us in a fight or flight mode and can make it very difficult for us to continue to heal because our energy is just being drained off the top. So if you can just imagine your energy level at 100%, and 25% is automatically, let's say, siphoned off for a fair recovery, you're only dealing with a limited amount of energy left over to function in your daily life. Some of us have kids that need to be taken care of. Some of us have jobs outside the home. Some of us are caring for ailing parents. Some of us have other responsibilities that we have to have energy for. And we actually need energy to take care of ourselves too. So when we have that limited amount that we decide what to do with, that we can control, it's important that we are intentional about what we're doing with it. So that's what I want to talk about for the rest of this video. I want to be very clear. The key to managing these exterior things that we have no control over is to be very intentional about the energy we are spending, that we're choosing to spend, that we're being intentional about spending, okay? I will say the same thing that I'm sure your parents told you about saving for retirement. You pay yourself first, right? You always pay yourself first. That is going to yield the best dividends. The old adage that you're no good to anybody if you're not at your best potential, at your fullest energy level, that is true. That we aren't good for anything we're doing if we're not at the best we can be. And it's really hard to be that during a fair recovery, right? So, for the energy you have left over, if you're being intentional, first and foremost, pay yourself first. Do what you need to do the best you can. And I know it's not going to be awesome for a while, I get it. But do what you can do for you so that you can be the best version of yourself so that you can move forward in a fair recovery in a healthy way. Okay, that you can manage these exterior triggers, these things going on in the world you can't do anything about. What does that look like? Well, you have 3 areas to focus on. You have your mental, your emotional, and your physical self. What are you doing to feed those 3? How are you caring for those 3? Are you seeing a counselor? Are you spending time doing things that stimulate your mind in a healthy direction as opposed to spinning your thoughts in a negative and unhealthy direction? How are you taking care of your body? Are you trying to sleep? Are you exercising? Are you eating? I mean, there are things you probably just need to sit down and evaluate. How am I paying myself first with this energy? Then what you have left over, start divvying it out based on priority. If you have to get out a piece of paper and do this, do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Do it. How are you paying yourself first? Okay? Then, how are you divvying out the rest of that energy to what is the priority? Obviously, our kids are very important. Obviously, we got to pay our bills, so you got to work. You got projects you have to do. You have things that need to happen. You may have other responsibilities that you need to attend to. So what is it? What's the priority? And then put your focus and your energy there. Okay? It's difficult when these exterior things come around because they could be trigger points for us. They could become mental drains. They could become emotional drains. They can make us become very tired, very weak, that kind of thing. So what I would recommend when these external things take place, and this is my final point, when you do watch the news and that horrible thing has happened, when you do get that news that so-and-so is sick, or that your best friend, maybe a huge trigger, maybe your best friend is going through the same situation you're going through and you're just re-triggered all over again. When those external things happen that you have no control over, start turning control inward. How can you redirect your energy in that moment? What is the best way for you to take care of you so that you can get through this situation? That's going to be your best bet. I wish there were ways in which we could control these horrible things that are happening in the world around us. And sometimes I will say, as a caveat, sometimes there is something we can do. When we learned about what was going on in Ukraine, I made a donation to help the refugees. There are some things we can do to these things that seem to be completely out of our control. But we have to take care of ourselves. You need every bit of energy you have to focus on you right now and to heal. So that would be my recommendation. If you're struggling, all this exterior stuff, I get it. When I went through a fair recovery, I remember going through the same thing. There were quite a number of things that happened. This was around the 2011 mark. There was a lot going on in our world at that point. And I take things very deeply. I hurt deeply for the world when things like that happen. And it was hard for me to focus on myself when so many bad things were happening. So I know exactly what you're going through. And as a person who's been through a fair recovery and as a person who's been in your shoes, and now as a master certified coach, I would love an opportunity to help you know how to get through situations just like this. I walk my clients through stuff like this all the time, and I'm available to help you as well if that's something you're looking for. Below this video, if you're watching on a PC especially, you just scroll down below and you'll see a link to schedule a free appointment with me. I take most of that time in our appointment to help you with something. I'm here to help you. And then I do spend some time talking about what I can provide through coaching. And if we're a great fit, I would love a chance to work with you. If you're watching this on your mobile device, like a phone, you have to expand the description of the actual video to see the link. But either way, I look forward to a chance of talking with you. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe to this channel, even if you don't contact me, so that you can hear all of my future videos as they're published. And good luck with all of this. Remember, it's all about your energy balance, my friends. You can do this.